So you want to get out of debt. Let me show you two things we've all been conditioned to do that make that very difficult. For example, I imagine that all of us, when we get our paycheck, we take that money and we deposit it inside of a checking or savings account that the bank provides to us, and we allow the bank to use that money interest-free. And in turn, they then turn around and charge us interest on our mortgages and other debts 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. I'd like to show you how to reverse that trend. What we're going to do is show you how to position yourself so that you can take advantage of the banking system instead of the banking system taking advantage of you. The way you reverse this trend is you use a concept that's been proven over the last 2 decades in other countries like Australia, New Zealand, and England. The way that this concept works is very simple. It's called the mortgage checking account. But what happens is, let's say that this is a mortgage of $100,000, just to keep the math really simple. Now, what they would do in these countries is they'd basically take their paycheck, and instead of depositing that inside of a checking or savings account where it's doing little or nothing for them, they would deposit that directly into their mortgage and let it work for them instead of the bank. Because while that money was there, it would be sitting against the principal balance of debt, saving them daily calculated interest. For example, in this particular case, let's say this person was paid $10,000. When they deposit that in there, they would actually be paying interest here on their mortgages on $90,000 instead of $100,000. Now, if your money was working for you, how long would you want to leave it there? Obviously, the answer to that is as long as possible. And so the second part of this is they would use a credit card and take advantage of the fact that the bank is letting you use their money interest-free for a month. And when that card was due, they would simply write a check directly out of their mortgage and pay that card off. And by doing this, they've effectively reversed that trend. They're using the bank's money interest-free, while their money is working against interest 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Now, there is one problem with this particular concept, and that is that this whole area here, or the debt balance left over, is in a higher interest rate environment. For example, with a 30-year fixed mortgage, typically the interest rate's around 6%. With this, the interest rate would be a bit higher. Not a lot, maybe a couple percentage points. But while you were taking advantage of your money working for you up here, you're paying a little bit more interest than you needed to here. What I'd like to show you is how you can take advantage of this concept while leaving the bulk of your debt in a lower fixed interest rate environment. And the way we do this is we would take your mortgage. Let's say we had the same mortgage here of $100,000, and it was in a 6% interest rate environment. We're just going to leave that alone. But what we will do is we'll open up a line of credit that has specific features that allows it to act just like a checking account. Now, what you're going to do is you're basically going to, again, take your paycheck, you're going to put your money to work for you instead of the bank. You're going to deposit it right in here and let it work for you against the debt that may be there. The second thing you're going to do is you're going to use a credit card, again, take advantage of the bank's free money, and you're going to pay that card off in full at the end of each month. And the third thing you do, you reposition debt. You take debt from here and you move it inside of here. Now, what you should be asking yourself right now is, why would I take debt from a 6% interest rate environment and put it inside of a line of credit where the interest rate could potentially be 10 or 12%? And the reason you would do that is because you're moving debt from an environment where your money can't work for you, and you're moving it inside of an environment where your money can work for you. Now, for example, we have a software program that takes into consideration the interest rate on the first mortgage, the interest rate on the line of credit, how much you make and when you're depositing it, and how much you spend and when you spend it. When you take those things into consideration, the software will tell you exactly how much debt to reposition. And when you reposition the correct amount of debt, regardless of what the annual percentage rate is, your effectual interest rate is going to be about 1%. Now, that may seem confusing to some, but remember that it's actually very, very simple. In all reality, all you're doing is changing 3 things. You're changing where you deposit your paycheck, you're using the bank's money interest-free, and you're paying that card off in full each month. And the third thing you do is you're just going to consult with the online software. It'll tell you if and when and how much debt to reposition. Those who don't take advantage of this concept find themselves paying off their home in around 30 years and paying a whole lot of interest. Using the mortgage checking account concept, our clients are out of debt in around 10 years and save well over $100,000 in interest that they can then turn around and put into an investment that can be working for them to help provide for their retirement. If you'd like to find out how this program can work for you, act now.